for the few guys that were over here laning, what I was talking about AJ at the very beginning of the day, squaring up, same thing applies to laning as well. When you guys are turning your hips like this, and you're about to shoot a lane straight up, or even this cross, it's even worse now. Now you're rotating you're rotating your hips, your shoulders, everything more so than you have to, which just adds more difficulty to the shot. The whole thing I preach is I'm going to try to stay squared up. If I'm about to shoot a cross or I'm about to shoot heads up, I'm trying to point my hips at my target. I'm rolling my gun straight down, so when I pull up, I mean, look at the amount of movement I just did. I mean, literally my arms just rotate up for the most part. My shoulders change a little bit, but you guys that are doing it like this, look what I have now doing versus something like this. You see the difference? When I'm lining all my hips up, I'm lining my gun up, I'm only messing with one variable. Either I'm going to be high or low. I know the gun's already on target horizontally. I'm just worrying about the vertical, all right? So really work on this. No matter, the only time I come off, you know, this whole, you know, squared up, rolling my gun down, is if I'm having to get out to a spot. Which, when some of y'all are doing this cross, you know, you're doing that, but still, look where my hips are facing, at my target, okay? The other thing one of the biggest mistakes, I saw y'all make it a few times, but I wanted to do a little video for it. It more applies to fields with back centers. This one doesn't have back center, but still, it's a mistake I see. Is guys, when we're shooting at two gaps, y'all shooting that first gap, correct? And then you're switching to the second gap. This first gap that we shoot, to me, that's the dice roll. If I can shoot somebody in a first gap lane, that's a bonus. What I'm really focusing on is that second gap. And what I see, one of the biggest mistakes I see is somebody pulls up, say they're shooting low on this first gap, they try to fix the first gap and then switch to the second gap. If I'm at that first gap, remember, look how, count in your head how long right when I pull the trigger, how long it takes this ball to get down the other end of the field. Well, I don't want to shoot the ref. It's a second and a half, 2 seconds it takes this ball to get to where I can kill somebody. So if I'm shooting this first gap for that long, that guy's already passed it. Look how quick he takes about 5 steps and he's already passed it. And most guys can take 5 steps in about 2 seconds. So it's one of those things. If I pull up and I shoot this first gap and I'm on, okay, good, I'm always going to switch to the second gap in time. But if I pull up and my first gap is low, who cares? That's the bonus lane. I'm going to immediately switch to my second gap. Does that make sense? I see a lot of guys always trying to fix the first gap. If you pull up and you're off on your first gap, that lane's toast. Use the information you gained from, like, okay, I was low on the first gap, second gap I'm going to be higher and on target. Does that make sense? Really focus on that. If you fuck up the first gap, who cares? That was the bonus one. Kill them in the second gap. That's the important one. See, a lot of guys too focused on that first gap and fixing it that they blow the really good lane at the end. All right?